Hi. Quickly, something on appellations. I'm getting a lot of comments about, the New World has appellations, etc. They do, but not all appellation frameworks are created equal. The European appellation system is the gold standard, if you like, although one could argue it's too rigid, a bit outdated, and very bureaucratic. But the other end of the spectrum are appellations in the New World, which are merely geographical real estate, flagpoles. They're not created based on soil type or grape varieties or production methods. A good example of this would be Barossa Valley appellation in Australia. And contrast that with Châteauneuf-du-Pape in the Rhone Valley, for example. So in Barossa, heavy irrigation. In Châteauneuf-du-Pape, it's been illegal. All the qualitative vineyards in Europe don't allow irrigation until recently, sadly, because of climate change. So now it's allowed in only extreme emergencies, and that's a whole other topic. I wrote a paper on that for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals Encyclopedia. If you want to read more about that, go to the Springer website. I also wrote about it in the March issue of Decanter if you want to learn more about irrigation and the issues with that. Anyway, back to this. So Barossa allows you to add water to dilute the sugar and the alcohol due to the heat. It allows oak chips instead of, oak barrels. It allows de-alcoholization because, again, the heat, the wine has too much alcohol, so it allows that process. It allows you to add acid to make the wine have crispness and freshness because with the heat, it's lacking acidity. I'm sorry, you can't compare the appellations in Europe to the appellations in the New World. That said, I'm not saying that the Old World wines and the New World wines, I don't like that division anymore. And I think there are, we know this, plenty of fabulous winemakers all over Chile, Australia, Napa, etc., Willamette Valley in Oregon, wow, who don't need a legal framework to tell them how to make good wines in a restrained, non-interventionist way. So it's not about Old World, New World, in my opinion, anymore. It's about transparency versus opacity and good vineyard practices. So I hope that helps. Not all appellations are created equal. So